Man, clear my throat here.
Let me clear my throat.
I've had a throat thing for like 2 weeks,
COVID,
maybe.
gotta be.
Got to be right. But I'm not sick though.
Hmm.
I'm just like,
Long COVID.
yeah. Then making a lot of sense right now. No, yeah, I have no idea, but it hasn't affected me in any way whatsoever. It's just I'm constantly like Boba Booey, like doing the
You playing a lot of shows, singing, straining
no,
on the voice. Nah,
no, I mean, how much could we possibly play? You know, it's not like we go to practice once a week and then we'll play like an occasional show. So it's not like, it's not like
got
we're
to switch to some kind of AI backing. Keep it fresh. Like Vince Neil's, like it's working for him.
Oh yeah, no, it's speaking of Vince Neil, big news for those guys. Uh I'll tell you this. When I posted the new Motley Crue song, I didn't even realize it was an official video. I thought it was just a song.
Hmm.
The song, I just put it up on my Spotify, listened to it, and it's just so out, like it's so dumb. Like
It's terrible.
it's so it I don't even think it's terrible. It's just so just it's just so
It's
dumb. It's
it's
so dumb.
generic. It sounds like a, some generic version of metal that does isn't their sound,
It's
never was their sound
yes,
with
that's what I'm saying.
AI doing studio tricks. We all know what Vince sounds like.
Yeah.
So at what point, like what are we doing?
What are we doing?
Why bother? Why
Why
bother?
why are we lying to each other? Just go
Yeah,
out there and play the 10 songs that people give a shit about.
seriously, man. Like
It's
it's
and I get it. You want to make new music, but I don't really I feel like maybe one of them does. I genuinely just look at them as like four guys that are just going to work. And they're like, okay, when we go to work, like if they book like a 2 month stadium tour, like they don't have to work again for like 2, 3 years.
oh yeah.
I get it.
You know what it is with them? It's just that they still like think that they can elude like yeah we want to put some new stuff out or we want to like at least Gene Simmons and Kiss there was no bones about like this is I'm gonna tell you straight up like I'm just gonna work this angle to keep this thing floating whether it be avatars or whatever the fuck and like
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know this retiring and not and then that the video looked like I mean it was like Lawnmower
I
Man or Def Leppard
I
quality
don't
from
care. I'll tell. I was gonna finish my point. My point was after watching the video, I kind of like it. I like the video, man. It's so fucking dumb. And the irony of them being AI characters and the song being like, you could have told me that's an AI Motley Crue, and I would have believed you. Because the song just sounds so. There's no way. I can't even imagine that they were on the same planet recording that thing. They're just like,
no.
Vince,
That's the
just
Bob Rock, you know, puzzle thing he put together, you know?
it's like when I got the Smut Peddlers, High and Mighty and Cage CD, and in it they had a Beetlejuice on something called Pimpology,
Yeah.
and it was like a 50-second like track or something, and I was like, oh, that's funny because they got him to say a bunch of dumb shit, and when it comes with the DVD and it shows you what it took to get him to say what they
Oh,
needed him to say, and it was like just unbelievable. Like he just they took like 10 things and they just made something out of it, and it's just
sure.
I I'd like to talk to like a real Motley Crue fan. Like I want to talk to a real Motley Crue fan.
What's his face? Nick from Dean Scar. Love to know his thoughts.
So he says he likes it.
Uh,
Um Also like Michelle Rizzo's husband
he likes
likes
it.
he loves Motley Crue, so I'm just curious like
Well,
because
that's
it
the thing. If they're your favorite band, like you might be more forgiving or just happy to have them putting stuff out than like I would be on the first two albums, and then I'm always curious what they were doing. I mean, I liked Theater of Pain when I was a kid, but then I went back and listened to them. Like this isn't
it's
really
it's
very
un,
good.
it's unlistenable except for Home Sweet Home. It's
Yeah,
unlistenable.
Yeah,
You know,
so
like yeah, like and they
so maybe they just would never mean that much to me that they're putting stuff out. But I'm always curious what the old guys are doing and stuff. And I don't they don't do anything or really care, I think, about their legacy, really. It's just you know,
yeah, yeah.
that's just what it is.
I think you're right, and because at a certain point, like you don't really like they don't have that deep of a catalog where you're like, oh, look at the set list this year. It's like no, they literally have like maybe let's see. The first album has Live Wire that people give a shit about, maybe On With the Show. Then you have fucking Shout at the Devil, Too Young to Fall in Love. Then you have Home Sweet Home, and we
Well,
have
they're not a band. The fall off
Smoking in the
between the
Boys Room.
single and the big hit versus the quote unquote deep cuts with them is so drastically like there's never like, oh, I saw them and they played, Save Our Souls or something. They're never gonna do that shit. You know what I mean? They're never
That's what I'm
gonna
saying. Yeah, like at a certain
come
point, you're
out.
just like, like I said, we're not the fan base, so we could pontificate all we want. So it's just we would need like a Nick on there,
Of
you
course.
know.
I think if they really gave a fuck about what their fans wanted, like real core fans, because I've always heard, and I wasn't into them when they put out that record with Karabi, but as an
Yeah.
adult, I've
Uh,
listened to it. I'm like, this is a fantastic album.
but
This
it
might be
doesn't
their
sound like
best.
Motley. But it doesn't sound like
Right.
Motley Crue.
It doesn't, but I'm like, this might be their most like complete kind of record. Like this is pretty great. And like do a club tour with Karabi, gives the fans like if you really meant something to them. But like, that ain't gonna happen. So
That would be an
whatever.
interesting thing to do for sure. But even like now, Mick Mars, like he's like, I don't think he could do much of anything. Those guys just like it's still enough to be Nikki Six for Motley Crue and do whatever you want.
Sure.
Like
And,
he's
and
still
Mick Mars sounds like it. That record sounds like overproduced. Doesn't necessarily sound like him either. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
his new shit. I don't know. Maybe it's just not my
It's just not,
thing
yeah.
anymore.
But
Yeah.
yeah, and listen, the video's cool. This song is not so much. I'm
Can
gonna
you imagine if they shot the regular like Vince? Like, what would you do with the way he looks and stuff? Like, they were going to shoot a video and they're actually in it. Like, what do you do to make him look like a human being?
You can't. There's nothing you could do, Like that guy got so much fucking like pussy on the front end of his like life that it's just like it's the ultimate payback. It's like, you know what? Your life was too good
Mm.
for like most of your life. Now for the last 10 years, you're gonna be a fucking walking joke. And it all started with that goddamn makeover when he got plastic surgery and that soccer mom hairdo. And I was just like, oh,
You remember that shit?
this shit is like an act. Like, Gigi Allen would really do what he said, like there's certain people that are really about that life. I'm like, oh, this guy just, and then when I found out he didn't even write lyrics, he didn't do anything. He was just like the guy that you're like, all right, you're blonde, just sing somewhat, I guess. And he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. Give me
Well,
the mic.
I mean, you can make the same argument for Ozzy.
Oh, you can make the same argument for
Yeah.
Ozzy.
Right.
100%. Like 100%,
Yeah.
yeah, the Ozzy thing is like, it's
The
always going to
thing is,
be,
Ozzy has personality and we like him. Like, Vince is a murderer,
yeah.
basically, and a fat asshole, you
Too
know?
soon, too soon. Yeah, yeah, Ozzy,
Rock
he
and Roll Hall of Fame inductee this year, too.
yeah, so let,
Say
let let's
Ozzy.
let's talk about that list.
Mm.
But before we do, you have the list in front of
Of who made it in.
you? No, like the
Oh,
nominees.
pull it right up right
Yeah,
now, James.
pull it up. Pull it up because I'm going to talk about the Hulu like Bon Jovi thing, uh, which is really good. It's like a 4-part docuseries on Bon Jovi.
Cool.
And I was wondering if they were going to cover like his vocal issues because his vocals sounded so bad, and they are. I guess he has something wrong with his vocal cords. So like half of it is like it's that current day. Hey, this is what we're doing now, mixed in with that back in the day type shit. And
Right.
it's fucking fantastic. It's so fascinating. It's such a great story. I'm halfway through with it. I'm on episode 3 right now, and it's on Hulu. And I highly recommend, even if for the casuals and stuff like that. Desmond Child is in it, talking about like how they brought him in to, co-write some songs on Slippery When Wet that broke them. Just really good stuff. And the like the solo album, like, because I guess he said Emilio Estevez asked him if he could use Wanted Dead or Alive for Young Guns. And John was just like, "That's cool, but how about I just write you some songs for the movie?" And then that's how like that album came about, which I thought was
Oh
cool.
shit.
And then there's a clip of like Richie Sambora on the Arsenio Hall show. Remember when, like, I would love when like rockers would go on Arsenio Hall and he'd have to like make pretend like he gave a shit.
He did.
It would be like,
I
all
know.
right, cool. Like Steelheart is our musical guest or something.
Yeah. And he'd still have to introduce it with like that fake enthusiasm.
Yeah, he did. And then he had that hair. His hair looked like
I
a
love that show.
yo, are you kidding me? I would watch it all the time. I really love I was a big talk show guy. The
Mm,
late night stuff, because there wasn't like at night, like as a kid, you would put it on, when you're 9, 10, 11.
yeah,
It started with Johnny Carson, but I was like kind of not too into that. But David Letterman was the one that like really, I'm like, I like this guy. I don't know what it is. Like he was just funny. They had the top 10,
sure.
seemed like super New York,
Yeah, he was a
which
stand-up first, you know what I mean? So he had that mentality and he was good on his feet, you know what I mean? But that back in the day, like we had that, there was like a boom. That's when you had the Chevy Chase show and the Dennis Miller show. Everybody was getting one back in the day, you know? And what
Magic
Arsenio
Johnson.
was on Channel 9, yeah, Magic Johnson, that was a disaster.
Yeah. He held down Channel 9, and it seemed like it played forever, but it didn't. It was only like a few years,
No,
you know. And then you
like
would
nobody
watch
else
like,
was having Wu-Tang and Tribe and all that shit on, you know?
no, no, no. And
Yeah.
every yeah, I was a big fan. I mean, he had on fucking Jason Voorhees to promote
Shit.
to promote part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. And
Mm,
as stupid as it is, it was pretty funny. Like, who else would do that? You're like, all right,
right.
he's gonna sit there, I'm gonna ask him questions and he's not gonna answer. And I'm like, I don't know. That was pretty good. So, but
But
anyway,
speaking of, I pulled up. We mentioned Tribe Called Quest because the nominees for the Hall, we had Mary J. Blige for the inductees. Mary J. Blige, Cher, Dave Matthews Band, Foreigner, Peter Frampton, Cool and the Gang, Ozzy, and a Tribe Called Quest.
uh I mean, at this point, it's so fucking stupid. Like,
Of course,
like it's just so fucking dumb. Like at a certain point, every band that ever put out a record is going to be in there. It's just the names that you mentioned. Like it's just every time. At this point, just get rid of rock and roll. Just say the Music Hall of Fame, or like rebrand it, because it's so fucking dumb.
yeah. I mean, uh, Dave Matthews. I listen. I mean, they had a moment, but I don't know.
That's the most offensive name on that fucking list.
You
Let
know,
let anyone shit on Tribe Called Quest for being on the ballot and not shit on Dave Matthews, because that is the most offensive. Shout out to our buddy Joe from Outburst, because I'm sure he's very
yeah.
excited for Dave Matthews to be on the ballot. But I mean
How's
that
Eddie Trunk feel about it? Has he
no, you
has he
want to
come
know?
out with any
No.
like really subtly racist against Tribe Called Quest like he
Yeah.
usually does?
Well, I swear to God, I could just picture it now. He'd be like, "At least Dave Matthews has a guitar." Oh, like he's gonna say something like dumb like that. It's maddening. He really is the biggest fat. He's just a fat herb. He's like a fucking fat herb that
I hate him so much.
he's the only fucking guy who gives a fuck about the Rock and
But
Roll
I
Hall of
like, you
Fame.
know what? I like enjoy my hatred of him so much. Like if he wasn't with us anymore, I'd be like, oh man, or like he'd stop posting. Like
Listen to
I'd like get off on like not liking that guy.
I listen to his fucking podcast every Thursday.
Do you?
Yeah,
I can't even that far.
every fucking Thursday he takes a piece of his serious Monday through Friday show,
Mhm.
and then he'll put it up. He'll put it
Just
up
lace you with a piece of that.
just like I mean, absolutely. Like, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna pull up just his last few episodes so you could tell me just how ridiculous. But I love it. I could listen to these stupid talks. All right, so the last episode was the Scorpions that apparently are still alive. Uh you got Tom Kiefer and Jeff Pilson.
Mhm.
Jeff Pilson's just talking about it. He's in what band is he now? Foreigner?
I think he isn't foreigner, but I think he did something with Lynch again. Not like an official doc and release, but some kind of covers record with George Lynch. I don't know. Some record that nobody's falling for.
You got he was on a cruise. He did an episode with Armored Satan, Chip Enough from Enough's Enough, Dave Manichetti from Y&T. I mean, he's got everyone that you want to talk to. You got
I guess
Jackie.
I love that these guys all still have a place to go because I mean, who else is booking YNT
Yeah,
2024 to talk to? You know,
at the
good
very
for them.
least, you're right. He is still holding down like the people that like I mean like we're talking fringes.
Oh yeah,
Like it's like if somebody like wanted to like interview young black teenagers basically and just
no
like, oh,
keel though. I see
huh?
no keel though. He hasn't had any keel.
No,
That's a
no,
bummer.
Kill has removed himself. But the one thing about the rock and roll thing is the show. The shows are fun. I just watch them. I watch the
Yes.
segments. I like the speeches. I think it's a big deal to like the bands, probably, like especially if you're old enough, and you're like 70, like I guess when
Hmm.
you were like 60 or 70, like that, I guess the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame like meant something, you
Sure,
know, and now
I get it.
you're just like, oh, cool, I'm in with like Donna Summer and ABBA. Like you just I
Anyone I know that's actually been to the physical places, it's fantastic. I mean, it's not something I'd make a pilgrimage just for, nor do I find myself floating around Cleveland much these days. But I heard it's nice.
Yeah. So I watched a couple of things. Speaking of talk
Yeah.
show, did you get a chance to watch Late Night with the Devil yet?
Oh yeah. We saw it in the
Oh, you
theater
saw it in.
opening weekend. Hmm.
Okay, so then so
The
did
whole
we.
fam.
Yeah. Okay, so your wife and your son, right? Okay,
Yep.
so
Yep.
what did they think?
We all loved it. Me and my wife definitely loved it. I wasn't sure because I remember I think you saw it before me, and
Yeah.
and you said it's definitely got a lot of nostalgia value, especially people that grew up. We're talking about talk shows and stuff like that. You remember these kind of looking sets and those
Yeah.
Donahue days and whatnot, and those kind of shows, or Joe Franklin, some low budget fucking
Hell
late night
yeah.
whatever.
Oh
So
my God, Joe
all that
Franklin.
stuff we got off on, and then my son, obviously at 13, I'm like, is he gonna? But he loved it anyway. It didn't matter that there wasn't any kind of nostalgic touch, just as a story it worked, and I loved it. I mean, I thought it was great to see like a good independent film and a theatrical release get a lot of love. It's definitely the best movie I've seen so far this year. It's been a not a great year for me. I don't know about you, but so far, but it's my favorite film I've seen this year.
I think it's like gearing up right now. But yeah, I have to say it might be the best movie I've seen this year for sure. And I love that they really committed to it. They committed
Mm.
to it being an episode of a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
They committed to it with the breaks and stuff like that. The main guy was everyone in it was really fucking good.
Oh yeah.
And only to be the only thing that I saw that was just as good is Lisa Frankenstein. Did you watch that yet?
Yeah, I didn't love it.
Yeah, my
To be
girlfriend
honest with
didn't
you.
love it either. What is it about it that you didn't like? Because I'm just trying to figure out why. Because I
Well,
I
listen,
fucking loved it.
horror comedy is a tough thing for me. I don't know. Like it I didn't feel like it succeeded that far in either side. So it was a little uneven. I don't like the way Diablo Cody writes at all. Never did. Um, Looked cool though, and I definitely could see it getting a cult following with people younger than me, though. That being said,
Like me.
like you, even younger.
Even younger. Yeah, I don't. I watched it and it just fucking completely worked for me. I don't know what I think as soon as it starts out, you get One in Rome, The Promise, and then from there it's just like I think musically every like music selection worked. I love the absurdity that made it feel like a John Waters film. I love the sweetness of it that made it feel like a John Hughes film. And the like
Definitely some Burton
yeah, the
vibes
goth-ish,
too.
the
Yeah,
goth vibes that made it
sure.
feel like Tim Burton. I said it was like a weird science meets Serial Mom is like what it really like felt like to me. And it went a little bit further than I thought it was going to go. It was actually kind of like more violent than I figured.
Hmm.
Um and speaking of Nick Greystone, he told me, not to get too spoiler, it's not really a spoiler, but like the Easter egg because it's directed by Zelda Williams, which is Robin Williams' daughter. The
Oh,
the did you? I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that. No.
So that's why he's wearing rainbow suspenders at in the last scene.
Oh shit. All
Yeah.
right. No
So
idea.
that was like a nod to her dad. And I was like, man, I'm like, that's pretty fucking cool.
Hmm.
So all right, on deck, I'll tell you, I want to watch.
Have you seen the first Omen?
No, I
Okay.
did you?
Fucking hated it. And
Yeah, because
apparently I'm the only person. I see people loving it. I thought it sucked. I stand by it. I don't know.
I remember you were like, I remember your review of it, and you were very not very angry about it.
It was just eye rolling and eye rolling and like
Didn't you
just
say you
that
wanted to
cat.
walk out of it?
Yeah, I could have seen myself like shutting it off if I was home. But the popcorns, I still had a little left in the bag and might as well finish it. But there's a couple of things. Charles Dance, I love that actor. It's one of those things they put him in for 3 minutes in the beginning, and then you never see him again. So I was a little disappointed by that. The Catholicism exorcism thing, blah blah blah. I mean, I'm just kind of I don't know. Like I don't think there's anything fresh to do with that anymore. It was an absurd premise why the Catholic Church wanted to create this Antichrist thing. And then the cheapest part of it was we all remember from the first Omen, which I love the first Omen. I'm actually maybe want to watch part two and three again. Three I remember more than two, but anyway,
Oh, I think I love two more than
yeah,
one.
I remember liking them. It's just been a long time, and I'm like, I got to revisit it. But that first movie, the big moment with the babysitter or caretaker or whatever hangs herself at the birthday party. It's
Yeah,
all for you.
killer.
They
Yeah,
do the same fucking thing, except lighter on fire this time, and
yeah,
it's in Rome, and it's the same scenario. Like we step it up by like it's just I'm like really
yeah,
that you took the gimmick, the thing
yeah.
and that's just lazy as fuck to me, unforgivable. No.
You know what's on for speaking of you didn't watch Immaculate, right? Speaking of like another like
No, I want to though. Yeah.
okay, because I hear mixed things about that too. I love Sydney Sweeney, and I love the fact that she actually has a production company. And she's part like she's doing a
Yeah, I
lot of
was
cool shit.
surprised to hear that. That was
Yeah, she's
cool.
she's doing her thing. But wow, I was really getting to a point. I was gonna say,
I was talking about the Catholicism thing, maybe, and the nuns and blah blah blah. Maybe we're going on that.
I don't know.
Immaculate.
Yeah, no, I looked over and I completely forgot. Anyway,
Yeah.
there's a couple of things, and Snack Shack is looks like a raunchy 80s style comedy.
Yes.
Did you see the trailer?
I had no idea that existed until you posted about it, and I was like, "Fuck, I got to see that." That's
So
up my
yeah,
alley.
it's up for rental. The dude that made Dinner in America, which of course I love.
Loved it.
So then Monkey Man was another one produced by Jordan Peele. A lot of people seem to love it, but like the trailer makes me really kind of not want to see it. But I don't know. I've not
Yeah.
heard one bad thing about it. It's like a action revenge. It looks like kind of like a
Oh
raidish
wait.
type thing. I love
And so
the
somebody had said that they liked it, and I know a lot of people liked it, that scene and stuff. But yeah, it looks like another. I love John Wick, and I love the raid and stuff like that. But I'm starting to get a little burnt on that
yeah,
formula,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So It's not something I'd race to the theater to see. I'm sure I'll see it when
Well,
it's up
I
streaming.
was going to, and then I saw the trailer, and it just like it's something about like the cinematography just bothered me.
Yeah,
Asphalt City is the EMT movie with Sean
I
Penn.
just started that. You
Did
know,
you? Okay.
yeah, you know,
How's it starting?
looks
Good.
good.
Okay.
Very, very early on and stuff, but a great premise. Looks great. So hopefully good.
I got Knox Goes Away, which has been on my fucking list to
Mm,
watch forever. Did you watch that trailer?
never heard of that one either till you posted it, but that's definitely
Yeah,
I'm on
so
that. Yeah.
it's still a $20 rental. It's the only movie Michael Keaton's ever directed, and it's after a hitman is diagnosed with dementia, he must race against the police to save his estranged son and outrun the ticking clock of his own deteriorating mind. And I'm like, wow, that seems pretty damn cool.
I love
Uh
Keaton. I'm in,
yeah,
whatever he's doing, I want to see it. We went to I took my son to we saw Civil War Friday night.
that I still, man,
Don't race to see that either.
okay, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
But you posted about it in the podcast group, and then somebody
Mm,
just started going too into detail. I read one line. I'm like, I don't want to read anything that's going on right now. I'm
yeah.
like, I'll just fucking wait. I don't want anyone to ruin anything for me, but it derailed me from going to see it in the theater. Now I'll just wait till it comes home.
I wouldn't. I'm not saying anything specific. I'd be generals. It's not what I was at all. What I thought I was getting. What I was gonna get when I got in there. The trailer is very misleading. Um,
Oh
Not a
wow.
big fan of Kirsten Dunst. Really, I don't get her star appeal whatsoever. Never did.
I like her.
Um, I found that the main characters to be quite boring and uninteresting. And aside from a Jesse Plemons like 10-minute cameo in there, he kind of livened it up. And there are parts that are very exciting. But
That's her husband, right?
yes, yeah, they're gonna have some interesting looking offspring. But it's
Hey
okay. It's
oh.
okay. It's like an A24 version of what handling a American Civil War kind of thing would be. I'm a little like I don't know A24. I was like I'm always interested when they put something out, but I always I feel like they're getting I don't know they got definitely got a formula at this point, on what they do. So
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I get it.
It's okay.
I get it. But yeah, that's basically what I have on my list. So I'm trying to knock out some shit. But yeah, man, it's it at the moment, Late Night with the Devil was the first thing that I was just like, this is fucking really good. Did you watch Joe Bob do the Toxic Avenger?
Oh, that was maybe one of my favorite Joe Bob episodes ever.
Yeah, that was pretty
That's
good, right?
exactly the kind of movie that I love watching late night with Joe Bob.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that was pretty good. That's
so great.
so did you notice that they stopped doing double features, which is I think a good idea.
Oh, I listened to the Facebook group of Joe Bob. I'm in a couple of those that just crying about how there's no dump. I'm like, this guy's like 70 something years old. Like
He's old.
he's
He's
still
like
he's
74.
still
Yeah.
doing the show, and they're going to give us one every other week. Like you're going to get the same thing. And to be honest with you, I never can stay. I don't know about you, but I can't stay up for fucking that whole shit. I usually watch it on the replay. So
Yeah,
one film is fine.
completely fine. Like I was like it would have to be like if I was home, obviously I would watch it, but like yeah, the second movie I would just
Mhm.
watch some other time because there's no
Okay.
fucking way even if you're sitting with people, it's still like like because he's talking through it. So every episode was like 5 hours long, and it's like, yeah,
Yeah,
that's a shift.
I think one is fine, and everyone complains like you can just watch another fucking movie by yourself. You're old man. There's no double feature. Make your
Yeah,
own, you fucking asshole. But yeah, that was a fun episode, which made up for the that Easter episode. Ooh, that Peter Rottentail. Did you watch that shit?
I couldn't.
That was awful, man. And I'm
I
down with a bad movie, but like it's only a bad movie of a certain era I can tolerate. Like some later
yeah,
on, they just became brutal to watch, and that movie was tough.
I couldn't do it. I'm trying to see what.
No.
Do you know what came out Friday?
The last one, it was Oh
Oh,
wow, the
Autopsy.
autopsy of Jane
Yeah.
Doe. That was a good movie.
I
Oh,
fucking
I'm gonna
love
check
that.
that out.
I
Yeah,
love that
yeah.
movie.
I just recently dropped the shutter and switched to the AMC
So
version.
that's what I did because
Yeah, a no-brainer.
AMC Plus is just fucking killer.
I feel like that's going to be what I don't think. I think Shutter's going to eventually just be pared down to be in that. I don't know how they. I mean, I know they're the leading horror people, but and stuff. The fact that I don't see why would you want the Shutter app when you can only it's only a little bit more and you get all this extra shit. Like
I don't think people are aware, to be honest with
yeah,
you. I
yeah,
really don't because I just when I mention it, people are like confused, but I'm like, oh yeah, you could if you have AMC Plus on top of so you have Shutter, like every app now gives you like other channels, like whatever
sure,
HBO does, or like
yep.
Showtime folded and went into Paramount, like all these things. Like everyone's just kind of like moving shit around, but it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
love it all. God damn, what else is there? Let's see. Did you watch the Antisocial Network on Netflix?
The yes.
Fucking good. Wasn't that really well made?
It was, like how the Q one was, the Into the Storm or whatever the fuck, any of those, right?
Yeah, that
That's
was
the one that has the 4chan and whatnot, and the memes. And
pretty
sorry.
much, and it's like it fills me in. Were you ever like a chat board guy? I never was.
Um,
I was
I
too busy
love Reddit.
I was too busy getting my dick sucked.
I love Reddit. Um, I love just the format of it, and the humor I find on there. And let me tell you, I still miss the IMDb chat boards. I
Oh wow.
really loved the IMDb because you could go to your favorite actor, and there was people on there talking about that actor, and every page and films, or if you don't understand something in the movie, people picking theories about it back and forth. I did like that shit, but that was just chat though, no images, no memes, no nothing like that. But anyway,
what do you do when you can't understand something in a movie?
sometimes I love the Wikipedia page.
Oh, that's a
Sometimes
good
if
one.
I miss something and I'm like, I go to the plot, I'm like, what is?
Yeah.
They don't always spell something out for you, but or I go on Reddit, I find some intelligent discussions sometimes.
I go to like YouTube and I just type up the name of the movie and then it'll be
Hmm.
like ending explained or something.
Okay,
I just watched the seating, which is like forgot the director's name. It might have been one or his first or second movie. He's married to Karen O from the Yeah Yeah Yes.
okay.
This movie was really cool. It just I wanted more, but it's like
Barnaby Clay,
Barnaby Clay. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, writer and director.
So man, it's a really dark movie. So this guy just is in the desert, um, and he like this fucking kid just kind of like fools him into going to this section because he's trying to like save him or something. And then he ends up just kind of like in a trap, but this trap has this house that has a girl in it. And then it just goes from there. And it's really interesting. It's like it's almost like Eden Lake, with the shitty kids and like what's that fucking The Hills Have Eyes type shit.
Okay, all right.
So there's some really
I see.
interesting.
I see. Magnet put it out. I do love their
Yeah, I love
great
Magnet.
poster too. Great artwork on the
Yeah.
poster. It looks like an old film.
I think you would appreciate it. Um I don't want to
Check
give
it out.
anything away. I wish it would have just, went into like overdrive on certain parts. But
Check that out.
that was one of those movies that I just watched. I finally saw
Did you
May.
see? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I saw Mayhem, which was one of the movies that we talked about.
That's in my queue. Yeah.
So in
How is
the
that?
so the guy who made Frontiers, The Divide, you know, he, he's yet to make something that I love, but there's a lot of good elements to the movies. Like he's made. It's just
Right.
to me, he hasn't made that one great one, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this was no exception, you know. It just was a little too slow moving for a movie that I would. If you see the trailer, you think you're gonna watch like another raid movie or something like that, John Wick. And when it went there, it fucking went there hard. But it was overall underwhelming. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
good. It was just probably like a little too slow for the action movie that I thought I was gonna get, you know?
I'm getting a lot of those kind of movies this year. Like when I rate on IMDb, so that's how I remember that I watched something. I watched so much shit, but like a lot of 6 out of 10s. Like that was fine, but like
Yeah,
nothing blowing me away. Except the ones that stand out were I really liked Self Reliance on Hulu. Did you see that with Jake Johnson? Was that his name? Jake
that's a movie.
Johansson? Yeah. It's very much it's up on Hulu. It's in the vein of think like 13 Game of Death, Keep Thrilled,
Oh
that kind
yeah.
of scenario.
Oh, I love that.
Uh
Yeah.
yeah, with a lot of humor in it. It was I wasn't expecting anything from it, but I was pleasantly
Self-indulgence.
surprised.
What is self-reliance?
Self-Reliance. Yeah.
Oh no, I know that one
Yeah.
where he's playing a game.
Yes.
That was pretty
Yeah.
good.
I love that. I thought it was very good. I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting anything. And I was like,
So
this is great.
he has to be with someone or he gets killed, something like that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I loved it.
I
I thought it
forgot I
was one of
watched
the
that.
better films I've seen this year. That and then what was the other one? Oh, another one, Animal Kingdom. I've seen. It's a French film about something going on in society where people are morphing into like animals
Oh wow.
or like mutating into animals, and it's I don't know. It's handled in a just a super interesting way where it's not like it's got a very human aspect to it, like how you would react, not like superhuman powers so much like it's a superhero movie or some dumb shit like that, but how you'd react if like someone in that you knew or family was afflicted by this or started to change. It was very interesting. That was Animal Kingdom, and I'd recommend that one. That's up on Prime, I think, for Joe. But really, I've probably been watching. I've been trying to rewatch some shit, some old stuff. Especially, I watch it with my son to see what holds up. And one I
Yeah.
was very disappointed was I watched Midnight Run, and I didn't.
Oh, really?
I found the soundtrack so distracting. And
As
while I
soon
found
as soon as
humor in
you
it,
said it, like I just hear the that fucking
the
like
car,
80s, like yeah.
oh, I found it so like hard and distracting. Like it was bothering me. Do I love
Oh,
Grodin and De Niro interacting? Sure. Like my
Yaphet
son was like,
Kodo.
we had to shut it off. Like he was like this terrible. But
Really? Yaphet
yeah,
Kodo, Dennis Farina.
yeah. There's a lot of good stuff in it, but I was so annoyed by I found myself so annoyed that I wasn't annoyed by it back in the day. And I was like,
Yo,
God, this is
s-
distracting.
so I've been doing the same thing too. Like I've been revisiting movies and albums.
Yeah.
Because I think once we do the podcast, we're so like um aware of new things. So it's always like, all right, what's new, what's new, what's new, and it's great because
Mhm.
most people don't do that, but we're always waiting for the new thing. So I'm like, let me just divide up my time, like I even considered going to Facebook and like writing like, hey, give me a year for today or this week, and I'll listen to nothing from but if someone says 1989, I'll listen
Mhm.
to nothing but albums from 1989 and watch a movie from 1989 just for shits and giggles. Do it this year. Maybe for the podcast group, it would be fun, something fun to do.
Sure.
But so Get Shorty, I watched. It's up on HBO. And speaking of Dennis Farina, so that's the Elmore Leonard book. And did you ever watch that?
Oh yeah, not in a long, long
It's
time,
been
but
a while,
yeah,
and I put it
yeah.
on. I'm like, yo, it's so entertaining. It really was the lineage that Pulp Fiction started. Like it just had. It was like one of those like kids that Pulp Fiction had. with like the cast and the way everyone is and the way like people are
Hmm.
just like randomly having conversations about the most ridiculous things. I found myself really like I loved it. And then another one that I did was Clear and Present Danger, which
Oh
was
wow.
Jack Ryan. So it was the third movie with a Jack Ryan character. The second one with Harrison Ford. And what I love about it is just the dirty politics of it. You know, it's like this cartel, you know, takes out this one dude who just happens to be really good friends with the president of the United States. And Jack Ryan is kind of like sniffing around. And great cast, you know, Willem Dafoe's in it, Benjamin Bratt. Just really good stuff. I love Patriot Games probably a little bit more,
Hmm.
but A Clear and Present Danger was just a fun rewatch to do because it's been so maybe that was like 94, so it's like 30 years.
Sounds about right. Yeah. I rewatched The Freshman recently. Do you remember that? With
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
very underrated film. Funny. I miss Bruno Kirby, man. That guy
he's
was a hell of a character actor, man.
he was
Died way too young,
so
you know.
young.
Yeah, that's a shame. I watched Going in Style, the George Burns film that was on HBO like 8 million times a day growing up.
Yeah,
Awesome movie. Funny, very sweet, sentimental. Hits different when you get older, like how it feels like about loneliness and shit like that. A lot of subtext. Very good film. Enjoyed that. And I rewatched Ladies and Gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains. Did you ever see that? It's a kind
Fabulous
of a cult.
Stains.
Yeah, it's a cult film about a fake punk band. Um, and their rise up. Paul Jones, not Paul Jones, Paul Cook and Steve Jones from the Pistols are in it. Um, a young Winestone, the British actor, he's in another band. It's like a young Laura Dern, uh, but it's a fake band, a fictitious punk band, and they're touring, starting out, stuff like that. It's surprisingly good. It's a cult film. It's a little small one. Not a lot of people have heard of it. It's always interesting when you it made me think of like anytime there's a show and or movie about a band, you got to make it like is the band they got to make the band's music like buy the audience buy like this is a legit band. You know what I mean? Like it's got to sound like sometimes like this band's the next big thing like that. But the band you listen to the music and you're like, what? But this was good songs in it, shit like that. You know,
Yeah.
like this would be the films like that. You're like, this would be the song that everybody loves to blow this band up. It's not very good, you know, that you see that all the time and shit. But this is a good one.
Never even heard of it, which
Yeah.
reminded me of this band called. There's a movie called Rock Bottom, which I wanted to check out. It follows a hair metal band, Cougar Snake, of 1980s, whose career ended as it started due to its clash with the direction of the group. Uh, is it on Amazon
I'm looking
Prime?
it up.
Yeah.
Came out in 2020.
No, Rock Bottom, just one word, Rock
This
Bottom.
is another rock bottom. Oh, okay. I'm looking at the wrong rock bottom.
It's got I guess it's got John Bon
Oh,
Jovi's
okay.
kid. So it
Cougar
looks,
Snake.
but
That's
the
great.
the trailer looked really cool.
It's on Prime for $5.
Cool.
I'm gonna have to get
Uh,
on that. I actually rewatched. Did you see The Rocker with Rainn Wilson?
I fucking love The Rocker. So when we first met Randy, shout out to Randy, who I
Yeah.
who I helped. I saw her this weekend. Her brother's in that movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Lonnie Ross is I forget what the fuck he plays in there, but she was like, "Oh, my brother," like when I guess maybe when I first met her through you, she's mentioned that.
Okay.
And I watched The Rocker and I was like, "Yo, this movie has no business being this fucking good." Vesuvius, so good.
That's what I thought the first time I watched it. And then when I watched it again, I was
Ah,
like, I don't know if I like this so
yeah.
much.
You're like, this is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Aziz Ansari.
But if
Uh,
they go into any, like, I mean, listen, I love Rockstar, and I know it's not a great movie, but fucking, you make something about that era, I'm usually a sucker for it, you
all
know?
right. let me before I switch to the music stuff, I just want to say I watched Low Lifes, which is on Tubi. Did you watch the movie Influencer?
Yeah, great,
That was
great
pretty
movie.
good, right?
Sure. Yep.
So that guy made or girl, I don't know who the fuck, guy or girl, made a new movie called Low Lives, which is pretty good. It's a little bit like heavy-handed, but it's like very
Curtis
uh
David Harder is the director.
no, different one. 2024. It's like a Japanese
Well, you
name.
said that did influence it, right?
Yeah.
That was the director of that. But
Oh
there's
god.
also a Tesh
That yeah.
the Kanda is the
Yeah.
writer.
Okay, so then the writer.
Okay. Yeah, no, I saw you posted about that. It's a Tubi original. Like that's
It's
there. They're
it's
getting in the game.
yeah, it's a to be original and it's like pretty violent. It's kind of like almost like a Dale and Tucker make
Love
mixed
that
in
movie.
with like mixed in with something. But it's kind of ridiculous, but it's never boring. So it's maybe yeah, it's one of those movies that where the casting could have been better, So but definitely worth the watch. I finally watched Infested. I've been waiting for Infested for like a few months now, the Spider movie,
Okay.
and it's up on Shutter now. And listen, I love a good Spider movie. I haven't seen Sting yet, and it started off really good. It started off very good. And I bring it up because of the casting. The casting of Infested is so good. Every character is like it's almost like they're real people that you're following them around. It just I feel like it kind of goes a little off the rails by the end of the movie, but it's just really good. It's really turns
Okay.
into a really good creature feature. That being said, Arachnophobia is still, Mount Rushmore. Nothing tops
Mhm.
that. Still waiting for a movie to even come close to that when it comes to spiders.
Did you
Uh,
like Eight-Legged Freaks?
that was great. That was like, and I didn't watch it when it came out. I was like, I'm not watching this fucking garbage. I must have watched it for the first time maybe within the last 10 years. And I just
Yeah,
maybe it was on like Netflix and I remember watching Eight-Legged Freaks and thinking like this is so fucking dumb, but it's so fun. It's
yeah.
really fun.
That's a
Infested's a little
perfect
darker.
description of David Arquette. So
Yeah.
dumb,
Yeah,
it's
it
so
gets
fun.
so fun. So yeah, I've been yapping on Facebook about fucking like albums
Mm.
that I haven't uh listened to in a while or like albums that I didn't like and I just like go from beginning to end. I put them on, yesterday I listened to REM's Out of Time. It's funny, my friend Eric right here just posted this would be a really cool video content. So, um when this record came out, I mean, we knew REM or I knew REM enough, like Stand and all that other shit and being like, okay, this is
Mhm.
cool. But I feel like it wasn't until like losing my religion where they were kind of like all over the place. And I
Yeah,
remember, right? And I remember getting Out of Time. And I often say this, certain songs are so played out. Like I never
yeah.
want to hear Enter Sandman again. I never want to hear Bullet
It's
with
funny you
Butterfly
just
Wings.
said that because I was thinking it's got to always come back to Metallica. Like
Yeah.
REM was like them, and then Out of Time is like their blackout. They were big, but like in that next level of
Oh,
big
next
where you couldn't
level.
escape it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the difference is I genuinely have never in my life gotten sick of losing my religion. I
Mm.
hear it and I fucking love it. I love the lyrics. I love everything about it. Unlike Shiny Happy People, like whenever I hear Shiny Happy People. But yesterday I went into the album thinking like, okay, so like I was driving out to Queens to go play a show. I'm like, I'm going to listen to this front to back and I'm going to try to remember why I didn't like it. And
Mm.
it worked a lot better yesterday. Like it
Yeah.
really connected a little bit more. Radio song with KRS-One. It just very cool. Uh, Still loved it. Losing My Religion, even Shiny Happy People. Like when I went into it, I'm like, okay, make pretend you never heard this song, and it's really cool. You know, you have
It's a great song. Like,
yeah,
yes, it got played to death, and it's an earworm kind of tune, but the guitar, the structure of it, the chorus, it's a
very
well
unique.
written tune.
Yeah.
You know, you know what? It
Um,
helps to like not think about the videos. I think because the videos are like I don't know. I know that everybody loved that you losing my religion and shit, but it's now older. I look back and he's dancing around in the wings and the ramp. That's what all the videos looked like then. I can't remember was that Anton Corbin maybe directed it.
I
That was
don't
directing
remember.
all the videos
I mean, you know, he
or the
was
video of Radio song when Michael Stipe's got his hat on sideways behind
yeah,
here. I'm like, but you
yeah,
listen to it, it's
yeah.
not bad. I don't still want to see that shit anymore.
Well, so
You
the
know?
next record, the record after that was a record that I think is my favorite REM record,
And
which so
Texarkana is one of my favorite songs by them too. Sorry.
oh, so I always loved off of Out of Time, Losing My Religion and Near Wild Heaven, which I think
Mm,
Mike sings
good
mostly
one.
of because it sounds like I don't it's just it was so different and I but this time the record hit, but the song Low I still hate. That's like the one clunker.
It's a
But
filler tune.
Automatic for the People was the record after, and I think that's my favorite one. But that had Everybody Hurts. I never want to hear Everybody Hurts ever again. But
Hate that fucking song.
I love the Sidewinder Sleeps Tonight. I love Find the River. Night Swimming is
Find the
like
River. Yeah, I
so
mean
good. Yeah.
that was one of those records, man. That I'm never gonna say like I was some huge REM fan. I always liked REM, but I wasn't like I got to see them. I got to do this,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But when I worked at the record store at Record World, Automatic for People was one of the records that everybody, the metalhead, the Cure fan, the old guy that only listened to Boston, like everybody that worked in the store, we could put it on,
Yeah.
and like everybody loved it.
Yeah, that was like like man, I always said in high school, everyone agreed on Tribe Called Quest,
Mm-hmm.
Beastie Boys.
Yep.
There were certain groups where like if you went out, like if we hung out in a parking lot, like okay, like this is what it's like. Okay, well, like Tribe Called Quest was like, all right, fine. Low in Theory were like, all right, no problem with this, or like the Sabotage, like no, what was that? The Beastie Boys had that Root Down EP that had like all like the different like fucking like
Yes.
remixes of it and a bunch of other songs like Flute Loop at the end. Uh yeah, that was pretty loved. But yeah, like I said, it's been fun. I did it started the record thing started for me was when I decided to listen to Funk Dubious's second album, which I never paid attention to after the first one.
That's
Uh
Brothers Doobie. And what's that one called? It's got a green cover, right?
yeah, I had
Uh,
hold on,
got
let
that
me
superhero tune on it,
hold on.
or
So, yeah,
Super
Lost
Ho, or whatever the fuck it's
yeah,
called.
Brothers Doobie
Yeah,
and
that's a good record.
it had Lost in Thought and I didn't know because I only had the first album and I would listen to like the Funkiest and all that other shit. But as soon as I hit Lost in Thought, Muggs really he killed it. Like if you look at their Spotify, their top five songs, four of the five are on that album.
Yeah,
So I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'm like, and then I didn't really pay attention to it, and then I listened to it, and I'm like, this is really fucking good. And I shame on me for never really giving it a chance after the first record, and then from
yeah. Back in
there,
the day, everybody, Muggs, House of Pain, and Cypress was so huge, obviously, but that Funk Dubious shit, that's like how Premier laced like group home or something. Like it's
yeah,
like not well known, whatever, but some of this producers like most banging beats is
yeah,
is
yeah,
in
yeah,
there, you know. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. So it started from there, and I thought, okay, you know what? I'm like, let me just dive down. I went to everything from like the first Fountains of Wayne record that like I had a connection to because in my head when I listened to the first Fountains of Wayne record all the way through, if it wasn't for the kind of like soft production, that record should have been just like they were like kindred spirits to me to like the Weezer Blue album, which was huge for me. Um And then I'm like, wow, like this record could have hit if it had that same like Rick Ocasek production. Then I did the first Das Effects album. I did I right I've done like 10 albums so far, like on and movies on the Facebook wall. And speaking of the Blue album, to wrap it up, I know you and your son checked out some live music, right? Didn't you see like Weezer with someone else, or maybe it was Fallout Boy?
No, I took him to Fallout Boy
Jimmy
with
World. That's what it was.
Jimmy Eat World, who I've heard you speak of and other people. You know, I missed that whole era of rock and roll. So like I didn't know shit about that. I knew the one song, obviously I heard the fucking middle that was everywhere or whatever when that came out. And there was another band before them that I don't even fucking remember. My son loves Fall Out Boy, so he was pretty damn excited. So yeah, we took it. I had one of those like side of the stage seats in the
Yes.
upper deck. You know, that was
Yeah.
the best I could do because
Yeah.
they were fucking expensive, bro. But
Yeah. Where was it?
but yeah, what's that?
Where was it?
At MSJ. Yeah.
Okay.
It was in the group of seats that once it sold out like fucking fast as fuck. They're like, yeah, let's add these ones that are like almost like behind the band, but not
Yeah.
quite.
Yeah, because
So
I always
that
wondered to myself, I'm like, who the fuck sits over here? There's like it's like
the people that buy tickets
you're
at
almost
the
like
end. Yeah,
behind the fucking like you're like, oh, all
yeah,
right, cool. Like I'll sit.
yeah.
I can see the drummer's drumstick from here.
Well, you know what? There's so many. I mean, there's no shortage of an arena now of cameras and video of stuff where it was not. I remember at the Coliseum growing up, you could actually sit behind a fucking like a pole in the in the
Yeah.
upper seats and stuff, the Nassau Coliseum, and there was no video screens whatever.
Yeah,
Like there wasn't shit.
they're like tough break, dickhead.
Yeah, you had a shit ticket. That was it for the night. You know what I mean? You might have to switch with your friend on who's sitting on the other side of the pole. But anyway, yeah, Jimmy Eat World, they were great. I thought I was very impressed. You could tell they were,
Well,
pros.
they probably had to like do like a quick like 45 minutes of like their most known songs, I guess. But
I think my son knew more than I did. Uh, yeah, I think they probably got an hour and change, maybe if I remember correctly or whatever. But yeah, Fall Out Boy, that's not my cup of tea, but I'm sure they put on a hell of a show for anybody who would be into it. The bass
yeah,
player had a flamethrower bass, so I dug that. I
they
like fire.
so they've been around for like 30 years, right? So
Yeah.
like 30. And they started off very rough and like they were just like, man, the first record, well, they have a record that they don't really acknowledge. So I'm not counting that, but Static Prevails when they had two singers and the music was like fucking really cool and wild and like,
Hmm.
technical and they were like on the forefront of like the Get Up Kids and like Braid and all these like really cool bands that were doing like really cool guitar stuff.
Hmm.
Fucking fantastic. And then they put out a record called Clarity, which was like the fan favorite.
Hmm.
But still, like no one cared. They were still kind of like unknown. That record is just like still, some people think that's the best rock record ever made. So I mean, that's the lineage that they come from. A lot of touring, a lot of splits, and then they made this record called Bleed American, and then they started to kind of like hone into like their, I don't know, just like they're like, okay, well, maybe we shouldn't play technical and we'll just write songs, and then they kind of like, I don't want to say they dumbed it down, but they definitely played stuff that was, like the middle, where it's like, okay,
All right.
but the middle is fucking fantastic. It's just we covered it recently for Cover Me Bad, and as much as I never want to hear that song again, when we play it, I'm like, I get it. I'm like, I get it. This is
It's
fun.
always cool for me, like to hear, like even if it's not my thing, like when a whole arena is singing a song in unison. It's always a beautiful moment. You know what I mean? Even if I'm not familiar with their work as much and stuff, but again, the middle, I knew that song and stuff, but like, the sing-alongs and stuff, and they be around a bunch of people in unison. It's always a righteous thing. So
Yeah,
it was a good time.
that record was great, and then the one after called Futures, just killer. I mean, you're talking to someone who played in a Jimmy Eat World cover band for a few
That was
shows.
shit.
Yeah, yeah. Me and some of my friends were like, we did it for like a couple of years. We're like, okay, we'll do these songs. I mean, they are fucking fantastic. I don't know who played before them. Fall Out Boy, it makes me want to kill myself, but I get their appeal, for like the younger kids.
It was,
Um,
I can't remember the name of the first band. I didn't care for it. I can tell you that.
I don't remember, but good for
But
Jimmy Eat World. Jimmy Eat
but yeah,
World
no, it
does
was
like,
go ahead.
does headliner stuff always, but I'm sure like, the guys in Fall Out Boy are like, hey, we love, it's like, hey, let's bring them
Yeah.
along because we
I
love
I
them.
I like that movie, you know what I mean? And we're actually and speaking of shows too, me and my son were talking. I think this Saturday we're gonna go hit Queens, go see Primus in a Perfect Circle.
Oh,
If you
cool.
prefer that
Impressive.
that
Yeah.
tour. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um I heard that Forest Hill Stadium is nice. I know you said it was nice, so looking
It's
forward
just
to that.
fucking really easy to just maneuver. You jump on a train, you walk outside, it's there, and then you jump on the train back. Like it's very, I like, I like driving pretty much anywhere unless it's something like that, where you just jump out of the train and everything's there. So
Yeah.
that's what
How's
I like.
the you driven in there? How's the parking? It's all right. It's good.
I've never driven there because there's just no need.
This is the kind of what people are tuning in for.
Yeah,
Parking now.
yeah,
How's the
yeah.
parking?
Listen, for people in New York, it's a very big deal. I went to, speaking of Queens, oh, where's that show? Knockdown Center?
Forest Hills Stadium
Oh,
or
Forest
whatever.
Hills. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I recently went to go see Alkaline Trio and Drug Church at Knockdown Center, and there's never any parking at Knockdown Center, and it was pouring. It poured. This was a Friday that it just fucking poured, like it just poured. So much
Yeah.
so that we finally, after 45 minutes, found a parking spot, and we took an Uber from the parking spot to the front of
Oh,
the.
that's some New York shit right
That's
there,
what I'm
boy.
saying. That's what listen. That's why us talking about the parking is very relevant because that's our reality.
Yeah. I was trying to get a parking garage for the Fallout Boy and shit, and I'm making a turn here, and I just overshot something,
Oh,
and it
you took a train? No, you took
I
a car?
drove. Yeah. I hate waiting for trains and shit. I'm done with that crap at this point in my life. I'm fucking over it. So I'll just pay for the parking. Uh,
Wow.
but like I overshot a turn, so I had to go around the block that just to go around to correct my overshooting it. Like just 2 city blocks or 4 city blocks to wrap around. Took like a half an
Wow.
hour, 40 minutes, Like fucking A, man.
That's crazy that you did that.
For the garden, yeah, it's right across the street. I get that one. Only like $40 or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, I
Uh,
guess so. Okay.
I hate
What
waiting for trains, man. Just can't
for
do it
for
anymore.
MSG, like I just, we just jump on the train because it just like you walk out of the train and it's right there. That's why.
Going in, it's like it's not as bad as going home, and I'm like, and then God forbid there's like a fucking Rangers game that night, and you're riding the train. I can't do it, man. I
Hey
can't
man,
listen to those fucking
listen,
people.
I'm not knocking the hustle. I'll never forget, Yeah, I mean, listen, when a show lets out, you never know what you're gonna get. I'll never forget the Slayer show where like the Jimmy Buffett fans were there and they were this mixture, and I was just like, holy shit, what is going on? Like people just yelling
Wait, it was a
Slayer.
train full of Slayer and Jimmy Buffett fans. Like they
Yeah,
both played in the city that night.
yeah.
That wow,
I think
that's
it was
amazing.
like I forget where Jimmy Buffett. Oh, because he might have done MSG, and I think we were going to Roseland or something.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So
I missed that place.
yeah,
That's
shout out to Roseland.
hilarious.
But all right, cool. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's what we've been watching. That's what we've been doing, and that's it.
yeah. Let's we'll be back. Maybe we'll do the one hit hip hop wonders or
Yeah,
something
I got my
next.
list ready to go. So
Yeah, I'm ready to go too.
because
So
it's
we'll
for
figure
me,
out
it's
something with
like
Joe.
the way I'm gonna play that is I think everyone should play it the way they're gonna do it. because
Mhm.
the way I could say "In Too Deep" is a one-hit wonder, like maybe you like that record. Maybe you heard that record and you think it's great. The way
Mhm.
somebody would be like, "Oh, 93 till Infinity" is just that one song. But to me, I'm thinking like, no, the whole fucking Souls of Mischief record is amazing. But to you, it might. So I think individually, everyone's just gonna,
There's so many ways because yeah, I could look at the Souls of Mischief and then yeah, great album and stuff, but also like evaluate it. Like one song broke through, and then it's kind of like, all right, they never could get over that hump, but they should have. You know
yeah,
what I mean? There's
dig
so many ways to play it.
Diggable Planets. Like some people think Diggable Planets, or even Arrested Development.
I
It's
like
like,
Blowout Comb too. So it's like,
yeah. Oh, that was
yeah,
one of the records that I had on my list to revisit.
yeah, I like that record.
Those songs are long too. Like I don't know if you
Yeah,
remember, like it's
oh
like
yeah.
they let that shit play.
It
And
was
I'm
different. It was kind of like Beasties doing Paul Boutique after like a huge first record. It was way different than the first one.
100% because they said that
Yeah,
they were just like, sometimes artists like to bite themselves on the ass, and I get it because like you do something and you're like, oh, like it's even what Weezer did with the Blue album. They're like, well, okay, this is what you think we're gonna do, then we're gonna do something different. Like some people are just pains in the asses. And like Dig Will Planets are like, we're way more than just like jazz hippies. Now we're gonna be like, black centric or whatever the fuck.
I'm gonna
And
bring it back. Maybe that's what Motley Crue's doing right now.
yeah, but
I'm
they
gonna
were,
bring it back to the beginning of the episode.
but they were never that. Molly Crue should just be like, yo, like if you listen to the new Judas Priest record, you're like, oh, this sounds like it came out in like 1980.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, fine, that's cool. You brought it back to a vintage sound, in your like the Firepower record that came out in 2018 sounded like Painkiller. And then the
right.
new record was even further back where it was just like very 80s metal.
Yeah,
Motley Crue was just like, I don't know, like make us sound like I what
they're a band that's like, yeah, what's popular now?
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
what
like
what
Kiss.
what are the kids doing?
Yeah.
Like that's some sad shit, but
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever.
Vince is like, oh, Dogs of War. Yeah, the lyrics of that song too are so bad.
Who even wrote them though?
I don't
He
even
didn't.
know. No, no one. Probably no one.
I
And
guess
AI.
Nick, or I'm sure AI is definitely writing lots of songs right now, and it's writing a ton of films.
Yeah.
It's not good.
And
It's not a
Tommy
good
Lee's
thing.
like, oh, dude, this is so sick. Oh, I can't wait to play this live.
He definitely thinks it's sick.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
definitely said bro and stick
yeah.
like 8 million
Bro,
times.
this is so sick. I can't wait to play. This is gonna be so
This
great.
is the best thing I've done since Methods of Mayhem, bro.
Yeah. You know what? I believe that. I believe that for sure.
All
So, all right.
right,
Yeah, we'll talk.
you said it all.